Hey everyone, today is the day. As you can see behind me, I have sitting the Bonnell 775MX. We picked this up yesterday. We're currently staying in the Tampa area in Florida. We decided to make the drive all the way yesterday to Jacksonville, Florida, right straight to Lithium Power Sports, where we picked this up in person. The folks at Lithium were great. They had it ready for us. They let us take it in the box, and we were going to do an unboxing for you guys. So, just to give you guys a little bit of background about myself, because I've heard a few people that have this in their hands. There's only a few of us out there so far. I heard some people saying that, you know, they really don't have a mountain bike background, so they're trying to get the hang of what this bike is about. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. If you've seen in my pandemic video, for example, I had one out there. I had several videos, but I posted one, showed me on a Sur-Ron. That was my first Sur-Ron. I came from actually a diverse background. My background, I started off as a kid on BMX. Went from there, got into dirt bikes. We rode two-stroke dirt bikes. And then after the dirt bikes, for many, many years, we went into mountain bikes. But I was early days adopter of mountain bikes. We had the 26-inch tires. I had all the way from a hardtail with no suspension to front suspension, all the way up to the full suspension bikes. I never got the modern e-bike mountain bikes. So, you know, so my experience is going to be a lot more diverse to mountain bike, you know, when I'm riding this bike. So everybody wants to know what the mountain bikers think. I'm coming from a mountain bike background. So as far as that goes, right now I still have a specialized enduro, expert enduro. 26 inches, I never got into the modern mountain bikes. This is going to be my first iteration of a mullet 2729. So we're going to get the unboxing started and show you guys what this is about. Got your 29-inch front wheel here. Looks like they're sending it with a 4.5 amp hour charger. If any of you guys have experience with charging these electrics, that's going to be a slow charge, slow steady charge. I'm going to be comparing this, and then I'll get into using you know, an adjustable variable voltage, variable amperage charger as well, so we could do some fast charging and test that out to compare, get some notes for you guys. We'll get we'll do different charge cycles and compare the time frames and post that on a future video. Got the main power cord for your charger. Little documentation, warranty card, I think. Looks like we got some, these are going to be changing your brakes. So they give you the spacers to slide in there, so when you're changing your brakes, it doesn't depress the calipers. Those are nice to have. They're set up specifically for the Magura, so you want to make sure to keep those. Don't toss that. Got a couple extra Presto valves, so if you want to go tubeless and change it out. We also have the extra valves, and I believe they have an application to do tubeless on these as well. Got your standard mountain bike style air pump. Very nice. Front fender with the screws to put it on. Make sure to keep track of those. Okay, here it is out of the box. Looks like minimal assembly required. We got the front handlebars to put on. We got the disc brake on the front wheel to put on. Everything else is already together. Tires are even aired up. So we're going to get the front wheel put on. We're going to get the disc put on there as well. And we're going to get the front handlebars mounted. And we'll show you what it looks like all assembled here. In the box with the pedals, you got some nice Bonnell pedals, platform pedals. Those are actually really nice. I heard somebody mention that they thought maybe they would change them out to the cleat pedals. MX style, I wouldn't recommend the cleat pedals. If you've done any downhill mountain biking, you don't want to be locked in if you get in a really technical section, and those pedals don't give you enough support if you're challenging jumps and things like that. You really need a platform. Now, they do make a platform pedal that has cleats built in. I actually got them from my Specialized Expert Enduro a long time ago. But they make magnet styles now. These were cleats. The magnet styles are basically just the magnet is your cleat and it sits on there. So if you really want that pedaling power for this, because I intend to use it and test it for its range with pedaling, then those pedal upgrades might be a nice upgrade. I'll post a link if I find it. I should have it still. And in a future ride video, I'll probably post a link of that. But these are nice quality pedals they come with. You also got your toolkit in the box. Now, you're going to have some literature here. One is a quick setup guide. It just tells you the basics. There's only a few things to put on. The other one is the Centaur setup guide. Do not throw this away. A lot of guys get something like this, the Surruns and things like that, and they toss everything. If you decide you wanted to sell this in the future, which you might, you keep it nice and you decide you grow out of it or you want something different, the next guy's going to want this because this has a lot of important information. It's telling you about how to set up your sag, typical mountain bike stuff. This is important stuff to have. Your fork height adjustment, and a lot of mountain bike riders, they rely on this kind of stuff, air pressure and sag. So make sure to keep this. Even if you don't set this up right away, I would recommend going through this and setting it up for your preference, especially if you're going to do any mountain bike trail riding. This is going to make a big difference. Very important document here. Now, you don't have to keep the box, but if you are planning on selling it and you have room, it's a good shipping box. So if you do decide to sell it and ship it in the future, I would recommend keeping the box if you have room for it. Otherwise, we're on the road living full-time, obviously, so I don't have room for the box. So it's getting discarded at the park's recycling. Let's get this bike put together. These nuts are already pre-coated with Loctite. If you play around with different rotors and stuff in the future, make sure you pick up the right Loctite. It's important for these to have Loctite on them. Okay, people, we're getting these screws in. Like I said, they do come with your tool set that comes with the bike. You can use that and it'll work fine, but these tools aren't always the best. And if you good for an emergency on the trail, I would carry something like this and some other tools. But they're not the greatest. Generally, these are these kind of tools are Chinese made. The ends of the bits don't always stay good. So I would recommend getting some good quality bits and tools of different sorts that you want to buy. And this guy is actually very old ratchet top here, and this is a Mako. These are 3 separate pieces. But get yourself a good set to put things together. Like I said, these have Loctite on them. Ideally, you could probably put the bike together with this just fine, but when you're tightening these down, if you're not experienced with bicycle nuts and whatnot, probably want to get yourself a good torque wrench and inch-pound torque wrench and learn your torque settings on these kind of screws and different size screws, because I've been doing this for years, and you learn to torque by feel on a lot of things, but it's always recommended if you're not experienced with putting bikes together, get yourself a good inch-pound torque wrench so you can torque it to specs. Because you really don't want to strip these out. It's not fun having to drill them out and all that good stuff. If you can see, is what they put on the screw there, the color in a thread. That's essentially comes in a liquid and then it dries on there. What it's doing is these screws are flush into where they're going into. If you don't have lock washers and lock nuts, some screws don't have the ability to use them because they'll sit in a recessed hole. And the Loctite is what's going to basically work like your lock washer or your lock nut, and it's going to keep that nut from spinning out. So if it's torqued to specs, the Loctite's going to keep it from spinning out, coming loose. I like to do bicycle assembly by hand with hand tools. Power tools are nice and fast, but they're not really recommended because you can easily strip out and over torque something with a power tool, especially on these kind of fine thread, you know, screws that they use on bicycles and MX and mountain bikes and all that good stuff. Always use a cross hatch pattern when you're tightening these down, so that way you go from here to here, here to here, here to here. That way you torque it down evenly. These screws look like they may have had Loctite, but we removed them, put them back in. I'll put some on later, but I would recommend using blue Loctite to replace on the threads. That's a good compound for these type of bikes and whatnot. You don't want to use red. Red is a permanent Loctite. It's going to be not going to come off very easy if it does.
Excuse me, Arnold.
Yes.
How many different color types of Loctite are there?
I don't know all the colors. We've always used red and blue. There's a purple as well, and I believe there's a brown. So there's quite a few different colors. But if you go on the Loctite's website, they could tell you the various applications and what Loctite works best for the type of hardware you're using. These bars are easily adjustable back and forth by just loosening these screws so you can get different reach. If your reach is too far forward, you can pull them back. If it's too far back, you can bring them back forward. I do the same thing on these clamps. I do the crosshatch pattern to get the clamp to go down evenly. So let me try to zoom in here for you. Okay, make sure to line those up. Okay, get a good light so you can see those arrows, because these connectors can get damaged easily. If you can see there, hopefully you can see. You have the two arrows lined up on that. On this one you're going to see. Lined up together. So you have the two arrows. Make sure those line up, because these connectors can get damaged easily. You don't have to replace those. One thing you'll notice, you can turn this upside down like a bike. Remember, your displays run on top there. As you can see on a flat surface, if your bars are set, if they're set too far back for you, it might be close to the ground. So you want to make sure to pay close attention to that, okay? Also, you have clearance. You want to make sure there's clearance. If you're doing this outside on a concrete, make sure there's no little rocks on the ground that are going to catch that, because that display could be a costly replacement.
And how much would the replacement cost typically?
Well, it's an expensive part of the unit, so I imagine it could be quite costly. It's not going to be something, if you damaged it, it's going to be covered under warranty. So that's custom made display by Bonnell and programmed by them, so it could be quite costly. This is your lock nut for your axle, so make sure you're loosening this back when you're taking off your axle. Just a quick note for you guys. You're going to want to put the fender on before the wheel, so we pop that back off. But one thing I noticed here is there's 4 screws in the bag. A lot of people might be putting it together with just the 2 screws that mount to here. Make sure you take all these plugs out so you can get the screws in. You don't want to over tighten these screws. They just need to be kind of snug. As you can see, that's where your toolkit that comes with the bike is going to be tricky getting those in. Okay, last step is to put on the bicycle pedals. Now remember, these are marked right and left. So obviously this is going to go on the right side of the bike. You're also going to notice there's an Allen in the back side of the crank, as you can see here. So that's going to be able to, that's what you're going to use to tighten your pedal down. The outside nut is just for the pedal itself, and that's going to stay. So as you can see, on the right side is the one I'm spinning backwards from the inside of the crank to get it tight. So instead of spinning like you're tightening the bolt, you're spinning like you were loosening a normal bolt to get that right side pedal on. And that's all set. There you have it, folks. There's the Bonnell 775 Amethyst. And what did we name it, Elima?
Bad ammo.
Bad Ammo is going to be its name. It's all put together. Now make sure before you, if you guys pick one of these up, before you get out and ride, you want to make sure to download the Bonnell app. You're going to enable Bluetooth on the device and power up the bike. You're going to connect the bike to the default name that'll appear as Bonnell 775 AM or Bonnell 775 MX. And then you're going to choose between the assist modes, street race mode. There's going to be 3 modes. And I believe also what I'm hearing is the first thing you're going to want to do is update the firmware, because that's going to unlock the full potential power of the bike. Right now it's set to like 30 miles an hour and it'll start cutting out. It might be a good idea to ride it first and get familiar with the bike before you go ahead and update the firmware. Also notice that the battery is not plugged in, so you want to get that plugged in before you try to power up the bike. Also, you want to make sure you set up your suspension before riding. You're going to need to put air and whatnot. Very important that you pay attention to the settings per your weight in the Suntour Ruck Setup Guide. Set up your suspension properly. With that, it'll tell you. You're going to use your air pump that comes with the bike to air up the forks. And then once you get that set, you'll be ready to go out and ride. So there it is, folks. There's the Bonnell 775 MX. And we're going to do a future video, get some rides in, and tell you guys what a mountain biker's opinion is on giving this its run for money. Peace.